morning, everyone. Okay, so today's video, if you've seen the title, is going to talk about all the things they don't want you to know about being a mobile notary loan signer. So I thought that I would come and say, because no one talks about the ugly part of the business, so I'm hoping that this information can be very helpful to you. That's first, before we start going into negatives, be very clear about the positives. The major thing is that it is very lucrative. So when you're thinking about some of these negative things, be mindful that the money you're going to bring in, it will just outweigh all the negative things that comes with it. Another part of the positive things is just it's around your own schedule. So you get to make your own schedule. You get to say when you're available or not to make the money. So that is obviously a positive. Having a flexible schedule. So let's just go and get into the negative things, because that's what you're here for. So some of the negative things about notary loan signing obviously is just that you are driving around your city, your state, everywhere. Like, you are literally driving everywhere to do signings. So you're putting mileage on your car, the gas becomes expensive, your tires are wearing down. So obviously, because you are a mobile notary, those are some of the things you really want to just take into consideration when you're looking at your car and if it can uphold just being the mileage that you're going to put on it, just traveling around the city. So certainly be mindful of that. Another thing, a big one for me, which is the inconsistencies with the signing companies. Now, if you've seen my last video, I talked about just how to market yourself to more direct clients, where you are working directly with the title company or the lender or escrow company to get that full amount. But many of your assignments are going to come from signing companies. And in those signing companies, there's so many inconsistencies. What any mobile notary loan signer will tell you is that they are going to take more of the money, right? So if the title company is giving them $150 for the signing, and then they're only trying to give you $70, it's like, it's a no-go for me. Like, let me take that back. On occasion, I take it. It depends on how my schedule looks, what my financial goal is for that week, in terms of my part-time work or work through my business through mobile notary loan signing. So let me be clear. I do take those $70 ones, but I try to make it make sense to my schedule. So they will try to underhand you, and literally all they're doing is uploading documents and maybe building relationships with those title companies, all the things that you can do. But that's obviously a huge one. Another one is that they're not as transparent, is a polite way to put it. They're not as transparent in the work that you're doing for them. So a tip that I always have for this particular thing is, if by chance you are doing scan backs, if someone says you missed something or a document wasn't signed, the longer you go through this process, the more familiar you become with the documents, and also your cases when you're going over it with the client. You're like, typically they'll have this document in there. You kind of take a mental note. I may even mention it to the client in the event that they need to come back. It doesn't seem like such a surprise, but I'm not here to make those corrections up front for a signing company. So I arbitrarily just kind of make the changes that need to be made. Oftentimes I do a lot of I have a lot of those recordation forms in my car, just because those are the major ones that people miss. And for a long time, I was just adding them there. But I stopped that, because I think that, you never know what the title company is trying to do in terms of the loan borrower. They may be trying to get another visit with them, which is another fee. So I try to stay in my lane. Unless it's one of my direct clients, I might at least ask, like, hey, I noticed that it didn't have a real property recordation into this document. Should you send me one? Would you like me to add it? I may mention it to my direct client. But girl, if it's a signing company, I'm like, okay, maybe another opportunity that they have to hire me to go back out. But what they will do in terms of the signing company inconsistencies, they may very well say you missed a document. Girl, okay, so lately we've been getting, and you'll hear another tip is just kind of connecting with other notaries, but a lot of them are coming back 6, 8 months, a year later saying the document was missed. You like, miss me with that, girl. First thing first is that I'm going to always work with my client who's paying me, but it is not appropriate to come back a year or 8 months later saying, hey, you missed a document, you need to correct it, or we need you to go back out. What's often happening is that they're submitting these documents to their state and they're rejecting the deed recording. So then they'll come back out and say, you missed it. And you'd be like, okay, not likely. Although we're human, we could miss it. I always say, open the file and let me audit it, which is a tip for you if you're constantly getting, maybe you just know you missed it. Maybe you're very new at it. You just want to do your best with working with them. But if it's 6 months later, you say, open the file, let me audit it to make sure that was a document that actually was something I was supposed to sign in your original file. I am more than willing to go back out to work with the borrower to make sure that the deed is recorded or the document is completed. But what you're going to have to do certainly is to pay me. I don't work for free. I don't work for you. This is my business and I don't do free work. So that's one of the things you just kind of want to be very assertive of yourself, is that you have to remember that this is your business, and accordingly you want to conduct yourself like that. You want to conduct yourself in a way that that this is your business, right? So you want to work with your client, you want to maintain those relationships, but what you're not going to do is have me doing work for free. So a tip that I'll say also to that is just ask them to reopen the file. Some of them will get like, oh, we can't do that. Okay, well, I can't verify that that was a document that was a part of the original file. Many of them will reopen it. You'll say, oh, my apologies. Certainly, I'll reach out to the client. And on other occasions, you'll be like, okay, yes, I can go back out, but it'll be for my trailing document fee of this amount. And what that amount is for you. But you get a lot of inconsistencies with signing companies where the title company didn't omitted documents and they want you to go back out 8 months later. So that is something that I would say that they don't tell you about this sort of relationship that you're building with signing companies. So just be very, very mindful of that. So another thing is just in the manner in which they may reach out to you could be very aggressive and I mean borderline rude. The signing companies, that is. The inconsistency with that is that they're not approaching this the way that you are approaching this, that this is my business. They may come off very rude when they're at fault, right? And I find that they try to be more aggressive when they know that they have made an error. And what I would just constantly encourage you to do is to keep your cool, keep it cute, pumpkin. Be on some, oh, okay, well, no worries. Wait a second. We can certainly discuss this, but the tone of this conversation, I'm uncomfortable with. You can address it depending on the level of disrespect it is. But also you can just essentially be on some, let them talk and then talk in a very calm manner. Absolutely. I can certainly work with you on that. But it'll be for this fee. You can get ugly, belligerent, rude. And they don't get belligerent or rude to that degree, but they can get very aggressive in what they think to hide their own errors, right? And the bottom line is you get to choose for your business what relationships you maintain and what ones can go to heck. And insert inappropriate word here, but you get to choose those relationships. And if somebody is being blatantly rude to you, trying to get over, then you have to determine whether or not that's the sort of business partner that you want. And it may not be. And in all those cases, you can be very clear in saying, I'm not interested in providing that follow-up, but you can certainly pay someone else to do it. And that's the fact of it all. When they come to you and say, hey, we can't open the file or whatever it is that you're requesting on your behalf, and then they come back and say they can't do it, but they want you to do something, you can just kind of say, listen, I'm not going to do it. Because the bottom line is that if you don't want to pay me to do it, you have to pay someone else to do it. So it's best for us to work together, because you never know what the other fee is going to be for the next notary loan signer, right? They may hit your head. And if it was me, I'm not going out and waste my gas, all the things that are the things that they don't tell you about it when it relates to your car, the mileage, the gas. Girl, for $30. Nah. I don't care for one document. I'm still asking for $50 to $65 for one document. It's my time. It's my maintenance on my car. It's all of those things, and it's my business. And you get to choose whether or not that is what you want to adhere to or not, right? I do still encourage you to be the most professional that you can, because again, this is your business, and you never know what other opportunities will come from those businesses, connections. So try your best, even when people are not the most professional, to be professional, right? So I'll say that. And then the other piece to this is just assigning companies unrealistic expectations. Let's start with scambacks, right? When you adhere to a job, or when you accept or consent a job, you are saying that you're doing all things in regards to what they're asking for the file. They want you to go out, complete the order. They want you to scan back, right? But some of these companies will think that that's the only job you got to do. If you are a very busy, if you're a very busy notary loan signer, girl, your schedule is booked and busy. You don't get to tell me the scan backs need to be within 4 hours, because half the time the title company's not even asking for the scan backs. It's the signing company, so that they can look so superior. Oh, we're going to get it back within an hour. Now, some of them may really, really need them back in an hour. And in that case, you may say, hey, I have a few files, it may be a Friday, and somebody may want to finish the work or start the processing before the weekend. So some scenarios, you're like, okay, I can work with you on that, or my schedule's not that busy, I can certainly do that. They'll be like, within 45 minutes, get out of here, girl. You gonna get these scan backs when you get these scan backs, because I'm gonna do the job correctly. But also, you have to understand that your one signing for $100 does not make me miss 2 to 3 other signings just so I can get you a scan back. If you want that, give me the full amount of $300 that they're giving you, and I can certainly oblige, right? I can oblige to that, girl, because that's the only one I need to do for the day. But when I'm doing multiples, you don't get to dictate when the scan backs are. Now, I can be some of them may call you and say, hey, we really need the scan back. Do you think you can do it? When it's just a note and instructions, and granted, I don't want to mislead you guys. You want to follow the instructions to the best of your ability, and you may want to be transparent and say, hey, I can't get it back in 2 hours, but I can certainly get it back within the first 4 hours. And they're usually very, very kind about it, but it's the unreal expectation for me. Like, I'm working with you. I don't work for you. I also have a business to maintain, and part of that business is having other signings that I have to attend to and do so that I can meet my financial quota, right? Or what my financial goal is for that week or for that day. You don't get to dictate that with $100 filing or assignment. You can't block up 4 hours of my day so that you can just get it back, and it may just sit in someone's email until the next day anyhow. Many times, on many occasions, a signing company will want you to just kind of send those back, just so that they can know that you are just so that they can know that the work that you've done is accurate and true. Do your very best at the table to go through your documents. I like the moment that they give me the document back, I try to look at it, and then before I put it down, so then you can kind of make those mental notes about how they're signing, if they missed a day. Sometimes if you're talking, you can miss those things. So obviously you want to kind of go back through if you have enough time to review all the documents to make sure you've gotten all the signatures, especially starting out. You don't want to omit like, oh, okay, I'm rushing. You want to take your time, go back through those documents so you can make sure you've done a thorough job. So once you have to scan back, they're not like, oh, you missed this, you have to go back out. And we're human. It happens to the people who've been doing this for a few years. So don't be discouraged if you have to go back. Don't be rude starting off on so what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna do, because if it's your era, without a doubt you should be going back out without complaint, without whatever, because that was something you should have gotten done in the signing, right? So these things are only for those who are attempting to get over on you. But if it's your era, sis, go back out there and make sure you maintain that positive business relationship. Another thing that they don't tell you about supplies you go through. Now, rewind all the way back to the beginning when I said that you're making a lot of money. So don't worry about that, right? But you go through so much paper, ink, a girl, printer drums. Okay, have you ever thought that you would need a printer drum? I probably had to change my printer drum 2 or 3 times already, and I think I've had this printer for a little over a year, 2 years, right? And I am going in like oh my gosh, I am, and first thing first is it's just me at home, so I have to bring in, and I'm in a condo, so I have to bring in each ream of paper until I can carry the rest of the box. I can't just carry a case of 10 page reams of paper into my house by myself, girl. I ain't about that life. My core, my arm, girl, it ain't a thing, okay? So that's one of the things that they just simply don't say about how much work supplies you'll go through. And sometimes those supplies, sometimes I go to Staples and can easily spend $250, girl. But if you haven't seen some of my beginning of this video about how you have your coupons ready, all your rewards, and how you do that, girl, go to those videos, because I tell you, and I think it's in the supplies videos that I mentioned, like a trick about how you can get $30 off of your $200 order any day at Staples, okay? But they don't tell you. But $200 is small change to what you can literally make that in 2 hours. So don't be discouraged by that. But it's a lot of just pins, and I mean, pumpkin, they stealing pins like it was Bitcoin, okay? People don't return your pins, and usually I say, is it okay if I steal that back from you? Because, girl, I need my pins, but I still go, and earlier on, I would go to the Dollar Tree, but now, obviously, I invest in things that I have to work with. I have great pins. I have G2 pins, I think that they're called, and I also like these other, like, padded pins. I'll try to add it into this video, but those are my pens, girl. The pens that they sign with is the normal, like, big pens or whatever they're called. I'll also insert that. I get like a box of them for about $8 or so, and it probably has about 60 pens. And then, like, I just kind of keep replenishing my pen pouch, girl, because I told you, it's like they're eating them. They will disappear on you, so you're constantly just going through it. If you're mindful enough, you'll keep them for a couple months before you have to actually get more pens. But obviously, that's the supplies. They don't tell you how often you're going to have to run the Staples, girl. But that means you're booked and busy, so we're not complaining about that at all whatsoever. Another thing that I just want to mention to you is just the tracking and keeping up with who owes you money. Okay, girl, that, like, where's my money at? Like, you don't want to make sure that you're leaving money on the table. So certainly, make sure that the people who are required to pay you are actually paying you. So inundated with work, and sometimes you're not always keeping the appropriate track of your funds and who paid and who not. A great tool for me is Notary Gadgets. I'm sure you guys heard that across the interwebs, but what I will say is that is the most important thing when it comes to tracking my money, because I can tell who owes me money. I can send them out invoices from that particular program. I love, love, love it. I've gotten all my other notary friends using it. It's free for like your first 15, but obviously if you're booked and busy, you are going through that first 15. It's automated to a degree, a large degree. You can like just email or like forward the confirmation over to it, and it automatically populates what your signings are. And girl, it's the best way to keep track of just like who owe you money. So a big thing I would say is, even if you're not using that system, find a system you can use that will afford you to track who owes you and who pays you.
I just want to mention that most companies are not paying until net 30 days after you've done the assignment. So this is a great way to just track that of who has paid within that month and who you need to send an invoice to.
But many of them are still sending out checks via email, and I often don't even print my checks until like once a month. But it's like you're printing like $2,500 checks, but you want to kind of track in the system who's paid. And when you have somebody who should have paid you a month ago, you want to start sending them invoices to say, hey, where's my money? So I encourage you to just kind of, no one talks about that, but certainly determine a system that you're going to use to track your money, to make sure you're going to feel like, oh, okay, a lot of money is coming in, but doesn't mean you're getting all your money. So you want to make sure that you are actually tracking that expense and those sort of interactions and who's paid. And I guess I'm going to finish this video with just, while there's all these things that they don't tell us about, what I want to encourage you to do is just to find a couple notaries in your community, in your state that you vibe with. I obviously have my mentor and my sister that I can kind of vent to, Pumpkin. You can't be venting to the signing companies. So in that, I want to make sure that you are actually finding someone you can be like, girl, they had the nerve. Girl, you are not going to believe what this person said or did, right? So having a sounding board to just kind of vent to, kind of help you not explode, okay, on the signing company when they come with the BS. So find yourself, even if you have to go to Facebook community to find one, and you say, offer them out to coffee. I also have a video about how to make friends as an adult, but if that's not your thing, but if you're very personable, girl, dropping somebody's DM is like, girl, how is this going? Ask your questions to those people. Find a peer that you can converse with about all the good, bad, and indifferent, and maybe it can build a good friendship. So I'll tell you to do that. Another thing I'll tell you to do is just set boundaries. Don't allow these companies to take advantage of you. Remember, this is your business and they need to treat it as such. And then so should you. So in that same aspect, you need to be professional. You need to know that this is a business partnership. You are not their employee to that degree. You are a contracting service that they are contracting you to do. So just have your boundaries. Don't allow people to walk over you, especially not for $100 or $150. Especially not ever, but certainly not for a small bit of money. If you have to cut those ties with those companies, then you do so. You got to have a healthy mindset, girl. You can't be out here trying to beg for your money. And I also have a trick about that. Like, if people aren't trying to pay you, how you can kind of be like, and so I say that to just kind of say, like, girl, you got your own ammunition. I'll show you how to use that as well. But listen, don't allow them to just talk to you or treat you a certain way. So have boundaries with them, but be professional as well. Lastly, it's just audit your files. Look, when you're at the table, before you send it out, kind of audit it so you don't have a lot of those negative encounters with your contractors or your people you're trying to build partnerships with. So certainly just kind of be like, as thorough as possible, but we're human, pumpkin. I still make mistakes, not intentionally, but if I'm rushing and I don't do as thorough of a job that I could do, I'm very gracious about my mistakes and try to work with the signers to get it done, so it's not a burden on my my business partners in a sense, right? But I'm not going to allow someone to just solely take advantage of me. I am super, super late, you guys, to where I'm going. I'm always doing these videos in the morning on my way out, but definitely wanted to make sure we got this one out. You know what to do. If you made it back through this far, if these tips are useful to you, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps other notaries reach my content. Girl, we in this together. If you have any other issues or concerns that you're going through as a notary loan signer, please let me know, y'all. I love, love, love engaging with you guys in comments and when you come over to my Instagram and just chat with me. So please, you guys, make sure that you are liking and subscribing to these videos. And until next time, make sure you go over to our blog where we're looking to empower women and inspire and motivate each other. And the only way I'm able to do that with you if you're engaging with me. So love that we have this sort of community to share out on, and I hope that this information is helpful. Until later, you guys, peace.